What do you do when you take a show that was marginally successful with a strong but loyal fan base and decide that you want to make a sequel? Well, you could take what you had, expand upon it, and ultimately give the viewers what they want, which is just more of the same. Or you could change the dynamic and tone of the sequel, have characters not act the way that they used to before, and also make the sequel half as long. I bet fans will love that. This is an odd situation for me, because I'm usually not a fan of studios who pull this kind of crap. And I understand that feeling of betrayal that fans of the first season of Darker Than Black must have. But as I did not necessarily care for Darker Than Black myself, I am electing to ignore those feelings, because to me, this second season, Gemini of the Meteor, was significantly more entertaining. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my name is Arcada, and welcome to Glass Reflection today, a 2009 sequel to a 2007 Bones anime. Darker Than Black, Gemini of the Meteor. Let's jam. In case you were not around when I reviewed Darker Than Black a couple of years back and are not willing to click on the little box there down in the corner, allow me to give you a brief synopsis and my thoughts. The plot of Darker Than Black, which I have lovingly renamed Hay's Super Happy Fun Time with Superpowers, is interestingly simple. A catastrophe has happened in the world which leads to all of the sky stars disappearing to be replaced with fake stars that represent semi-demonic contracts between random humans and an unknown element. These humans, referred to as contractors, are given a range of surprising and supernatural abilities, from flight and invisibility to firebending and electric mayhem. They use these powers at their leisure, provided that they pay a particular price, the price being an equally random task, from placing stones to eating a flower or randomly kissing men.
Yoko!
The original show followed one of these contractors, the aforementioned Hay, and his adventures as he runs across a new superpowered contractor of the week every 2 episodes. It was a series that, while it did contain some semblance of an overarching plot involving his not really ex-girlfriend that could see the future, it was very heavily episodic. As such, your enjoyment of the series could be directly correlated to your enjoyment of individual plot lines. Gemini of the Meteor is different, first off because it is in no way, shape, or form episodic. Also, we no longer have the mysterious and moody electric Batman Hay as lead protagonist. He is replaced by a 13-year-old Russian girl named Suo. And also, the variety of superpowered contractors that we meet is far more limited by comparison, with only a good handful who just keep coming back. Because of this, I think I'm going to have to come up with a new name for it, as Season 1's Hay's Super Happy Fun Time with Superpowers no longer applies. Hay is no longer the lead, superpowers are not as prevalent, and when you're talking about a kid who loses her family and has her friends betray her, but still somehow has to save the world, a Super Happy Fun Time, it is not. Though to be fair, I was being a bit facetious with that part of the title when I came up with it, so it could probably stay... Suo's Happy Fun Time with Child Abuse it is! I'm a horrible person. But this leads us into one of the reasons why I think some fans will be upset by this second season, if they are not already. Hay is not the character he once was. The former badass has been degraded to a homeless-looking drunk who has no patience for children, which is a rather dark take to his character. Though the rest of the cast list also seems extremely light. Suo, being naive as children tend to be, can be fairly optimistic about their chances and abides by some semblance of a moral code in a world where contractors have thrown morals out the window. July has placed Yin as the emotionless surveillance doll, which is fine by me, as he reminds me of the frosty badass that was Sir not appearing in this season, and the talking cat Mao makes a reappearance, though this time in the body of a flying squirrel.
Did that squirrel just talk?
I'm a mamanga.
And that's the thing, really. The tone is much less depressing than its predecessor. When before we had many a plotline involving the trials and tribulations of dealing with contractors, usually involving death and despair, we now have an optimistic girl's journey to try and find her twin brother, travel into the depths of the physics void zone of Hell's Gate, and stop the world from coming to an end. I know that sounds like an episode of Gravity Falls, but I swear it's not. If it was, though, I'd probably be screaming something like, "I want off Alex Hirsch's wild ride." Now, I, for one, am glad in the change of tone. At times, I felt that the first season took itself far too seriously, with a plot that was shrouded in mystery, until the end of the show, where ultimately it was, in a word, disappointing. The only plus to that series to me was the animation by Bones and the music by Yoko Kanno. What was that? Is that a segue I hear? Why, yes. Yes, it is. Animation quality is, with few exceptions, about on par with the previous season. While it has been 2 years between the show's productions, nothing has changed dramatically. Not surprising, because even if they could change things to make them look better, they very much could just decide to leave the quality the same for the sake of unity. One thing, though, that I feel the animation does have over the original is that this season has much better action scenes. Though I believe that's mostly because they are fewer and farther between than in Season 1, and the show only had one 12-episode core, so when they decided that they wanted to go all out, they had the ability to do so. The soundtrack is notable for its loss of Yoko Kanno, which leaves very large shoes to fill. Shoes which are filled quite brilliantly by the same awesome composer who brought us the original soundtrack to the Hellsing TV series, a soundtrack that I love oh so much, and a composer whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce for fear of getting it wrong. This is a change that I think the show is better for. One of the great reasons Kanno was a good pick for the original season was because of the variety of stories that the show told, and Kanno is brilliant in that. But Ishii is damn good with making music that is both unique but unified. It also helps to differentiate this season from the last, with its music being heavy in the techno and rock areas. In other words, this is more or less just my jam.
It's you.
Seriously, I would have this on toast daily if I could. As for the dub, it's more or less identical to the original, though I do think it has a leg up in one respect, in that it doesn't have as much overly wordy dialogue that the original season had. So if you have no problem watching dubs, in this case I would recommend it, though to be honest, I wish this is one of those cases where I had a particular option. Instead of having to choose whether to watch the entirety of the Japanese dub or the entirety of the English dub, I kinda wish I could pick and choose for individual characters. In this case, it would be Suo that I would listen to the Japanese for. In Japanese, Suo sounds much more like an actual 13-year-old girl. Her age just comes across a lot better as the series progresses. English Hei, however, is as badass as he needs to be, even given Hei's character change. But since you can't pick and choose, if I had to pick one full dub over the other, I would lead towards the English on this one. Now, it has come to my understanding that a lot of fans of Darker Than Black, in general, very much despise this series and wish it was retconned out of existence and replaced with a much better sequel. And I get where those people are coming from because of the shift in tone. I just don't agree with them. I like the character of Suo a lot, to the point where when I got around to watching the OVA episodes, which coincidentally are included in the second season localization release, that my camera's not, focusing on because I'm moving way too quickly. When I got around to watching those OVA episodes, I missed Suo because she wasn't introduced yet. Sure, having Hei as the lead protagonist is fine, but I always get this feeling that he's being a little too guarded with himself, especially to the audience. You never know his feelings on anything, or how he thinks in any given situation. So to me, I feel like he did much better in the mentor role that Gemini had him in. To be fair, though, he could have done without the drinking and the child abuse thing. And I also think I like July more than I liked Yin from Season 1, because while they were both emotionless dolls, July always had this feeling that he knew what he had to do, even when he was not told to do anything, which is something that I think even characters who are not dolls were just never able to pull off. So I guess what I'm saying is that I preferred the character dynamic between all of the main cast in Season 2 than I did with Season 1. I was able to relate to them a lot more, and as such, enjoyed myself immensely. Now, the problem with recommending Season 2 over Season 1, as I would like to, is that it is a sequel. It's almost common knowledge that you should always watch the first season before watching the second season, and in this case, I think I should disagree. I feel like Season 2, while admittedly having some plot-related elements that will not be explained to you and some references to Season 1 that'll go over to your head, I feel like still this season has enough in it so that you can watch it first and still be fine. So if you want a watching order and you haven't watched any of Darker Than Black yet, which is odd, but if you haven't, I would recommend starting with Season 2, then watching Season 1, then watching the OVAs. All credit to Lathan Crow for that order, by the way. But if you watch Darker Than Black in this order, even if you're the kind of person that prefers the more dark nature of the original season, you will be introduced to the world with a very nicely paced, overarching story before you have to go into the whole episodic nature that Season 1 had, which to me feels like a better way to go. But that's just me. And so, with all that in mind, I present Darker Than Black, Gemini of the Meteor with the recommendation to buy it. While the original series only scraped by with a stream it recommendation, I found this sequel to be far more entertaining and a worthy addition to my shelf. I know fans of the original will disagree, but that's my stance on it. At the time of this video, Gemini of the Meteor has been licensed in North America by Funimation Entertainment with a DVD Blu-ray combo pack currently available. If you so desire, you can also check out the series on their website, as both seasons are available for free in sub and dub, with only the 4-episode OVA being locked behind their subscriber paywall. For alternate anime recommendations, I first point you towards Monster, a much more serious, and I guess I could say adult series that has some similar tones to the Darker and Black universe, even though I honestly feel that Monster is a much darker shade of black. For the second recommendation, as I like to try and recommend something that not many people have seen, try out Zettai Karin Children The Unlimited. It's a darker spin-off to a much more lighthearted show, but deals with superpowered individuals in a similar manner. So between the two of those, you should find something to your liking. And that's it for me. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, follow me on Twitter if you feel so inclined, and hey, if you like what I do here and feel like helping out, please consider going and checking out my Patreon page, and if you feel it within your heart, also consider donating. A very special thanks to Dog Crow the First, Jack the Nekomimi Taku, Grace Anderson, Joshua, and Nikolai Gray for donating already. You guys are amazing! See what I did there? I did the big, and then I was like, and it was great. Just like they are. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.